Whenever we plan for the future, any government must pursue a solid economic program, and they must maintain the foundation of freedom always in Guyana. These are essential things if we want to succeed. And so I go back to August 2nd, when the PPP came into office. We had campaigned a lot on several things. We said in the campaign period that too many people had lost jobs in the country because of bad policies. When the government decided to lay off 7,000 sugar workers, when they decided to put taxes on machinery and equipment and pesticides and fertilizer and all of these things, the mining sector lost steam. The forestry, the output in the forestry sector shrunk by 50%, and about 35,000 people lost jobs before the COVID came to Ghana. When the COVID came, another 40,000 lost their jobs. So we started off with about 80,000 people out of work, maybe another 20,000 looking for work. So we had 100,000 people to find jobs for at the beginning. And the complication of this all is that we've managed in the period of COVID, because we took a dual approach. We said, unlike some countries that were shutting down the countries totally, there are countries like Trinidad and Tobago, we were going to keep the country open whilst we addressed the pandemic. So we built a capability to do testing. We moved from 40 tests per day to 5,000 tests per day. We built out an entire ICU that could manage almost all the cases and other capabilities. We hunted down vaccines of every sort that we could find, because the developed world would not sell third world countries any vaccine. And we hunted them down. And today, when we look back at our experience, that although the United States and many developed countries were better resourced than we were, we, on a per capita basis, we fared better than them. We have half of the deaths of the United States of America on a per capita basis. But we also kept our economy open. I remember the first cabinet meeting when we got into office, we reopened the airport and we started getting people going back to work. And so we've been busy in 2 years. We couldn't come out much because of the pandemic. It was impossible before, say, 2 months ago, to bring all of you together like we're here today, because it would have been illegal at that time to do so. But we have been busy in the 2 years putting together the plans to transform the country, from the agricultural sector, infrastructure, oil and gas, almost all of the transformative things that are needed to create an economy that could be a per capita GDP of maybe $30,000, where everybody could get a good paying job. So we have also been busy fulfilling the promises we made, returning the joint services bonus, returning the children's grant. We started the process of doubling old age pension, which we'll do within the 5 years. The 20,000 scholarships we promised, we've already given out 6,000. This year, another 5,000. And the housing, we said we had promised 50,000 house lots. The first year, we did 10,000. And in this year's budget, we have set aside money to do another 30,000 house lots. We hadn't promised to build houses, but we would end up doing about 20,000 houses in the 5 years period. So we have been busy trying to implement what we promised. On the job agenda, we had promised to create more jobs, but then the pandemic struck. And right now, we've been very successful at generating a large amount of jobs in regions 4, 3, and 4. But it's harder in region 6, Berbice, region 5, region 2, region 10, that is Linden area, and the hinterland areas. Because the investment is flowing. We're getting a lot of investments to flow into those regions. So if you're in region 4, and you give me 500 persons now, I can find jobs for them in a day. People are looking for workers there, pay really good salaries, but can't even find workers. But in the other regions, we have a surplus of labor because region 2 is mainly agriculture, and we have not been able to attract the investments as yet. So in this year's budget, what we have done, we have set aside money to co-invest in some of these regions. We are now working in ESSEQUIBO on some call centers where the government will build the factory shells so we can generate maybe about 1,000 jobs. But that will not be adequate. So we decided that we had to do another program. And that is why we launched this program, a part-time program that will allow people to get an income whilst they're doing other things, whilst they're studying or preparing or looking for another job, a better paying full-time job. So that is why we are launching this. In this region, you're going to have about 2,000 of the 8,000 to 10,000 jobs that we would do, part-time jobs across the country. And we're hoping that once you start, so first of all, we expect you to work. This is not free money. We expect you to work for the 10 days that you have to work for. You can stagger the work, you can work 5 days at a time, you will work that out with the people where you're assigned. But you have to work 10 days a month to receive the $40,000. But we, as I said before, we don't want you, we hope, not that we don't want you, we hope that you would utilize the remaining period in the month to do something else, either to work elsewhere or to study. Now, I told you about the scholarship program. So if, like all of you here, around 400 or 500? Nearly 500 persons here. If every one of you want to study, we can find over time the government will pay for you to study online program. We want all of our people to be able to study. So we are hoping that you will take advantage of the scholarship programs and the offer that the government is prepared to make. Now, if you can't get into a tertiary program or a technical level program, we've just launched a remedial program. So if you've not completed CXC or don't have the required subjects, you have a remedial program that would allow you to transition into a degree program or a technical level program. Because the economy of the future needs this. The economy of the future needs this sort of approach. So we are hoping that you will make full use, not just of this part-time employment program, but a scholarship program. Now, we can work at that. I'm going to ask Minister Manik Chan and some others to come out. Once you get settled and you start working, then we can always meet with you again to see how we move forward with that, the training and the scholarship program, so that each of you can study and upgrade yourselves. So that's how we want to look at it. In this region, we are looking at a number of other things. There are new hospital being built just here, a $30 million hospital. We're trying to upgrade the quality of internet, generate a whole range of other subsidiary activities so that we can create, as many of you may eventually transition out into the business sector. We're considering building a business incubator here in the region where we can give small business grants to people and then with technical assistance, they can then start their own business. We have a whole plan laid out. Now, at the national level, many of you must be reading a lot and you hear a lot about oil and gas and stuff. We believe that the oil and gas sector can generate some of the income that would allow us to co-invest in other sectors and to expand the other sectors of the economy. Now, many of you are young people, and you must have read about the experience of other countries that have utilized oil and gas resources wantonly. So let me just give you read a lot and you hear a lot of populist view. And that's why I hope that as young people, you don't subscribe to these populist views. There's one view now, there's a motion in Parliament by the opposition that we should give every Guyanese $4,000 to $5,000 a year from the oil mine. Now, in the past 2 years, if you look at how much we've collected per annum, we've collected about $350 million on oil and gas as revenue and profit share. If we give every Guyanese $4,000 to $5,000 a year, that's about $1 million Guyana dollars, it will be over $3 billion, maybe $4 billion. That's more than 10 times more than we are collecting. But it sounds very popular. But how would you share out 10 times more than what you're collecting? This is the same philosophy that landed us in the trouble in the 90s, when our debt was 9 times the size of gross domestic product. You have any coffee there? Get me my coffee. I didn't sleep last night, so I need a shot to keep going. So this was the philosophy. We were servicing using over 150% of revenue to service debt. So we cannot fall for populism. Many people believe we are awash with oil money. Oil resources will come in the long run. More will come in. But we have to save a lot. We made it clear. We are investing this in healthcare, education, infrastructure, and we are saving some. That's the only way that you would have a sustainable future. So I don't want to today spend too much time talking about like economic philosophy or economic plans for the country. If you listen to us, you will hear about all the plans to decarbonize our society through a low-carbon development strategy, to utilize the oil and gas proceeds in a manner that will create value and wealth for our people, to build transformative infrastructure that will crowd in investments and diversify the economy. All of these things are part of our plan. Big projects like the bringing in the gas to generate power that will cut the price of electricity by 50% by 2024, and we'll have enough gas to supply cooking gas, for example, 3 times more than what we use now from the first 50 million cubic that will come in on the pipeline. These are some big projects that we're working on that I hope that all of you will read, because you're going to be part of working for the government now. So I hope that you read, and read in a manner that is discerning. Don't just believe everything you read, or everything on social media, or everything in the newspapers. You have a faculty, so you have to think things through for yourself. What sounds logical. So I hope that you will do that, and at some point in time, So at some point in time, we can talk a bit more about this. Now, wherever you serve, there is an expectation. I don't know where you will be placed, because many of you will be placed in different agencies. It's a large number of people. So we have to find some place to put you. Some will work in government offices, hospitals, different places, maybe if we can get daycare or other places. So we want everybody to be productively placed. But remember now that you're going to work for the government, you're there to serve people. You know, too often we get complaints when you're on the outside and you go to a government office. You complain how people are rude, they treat you badly and stuff. You don't do the same to people. You're there to serve people. When you get in here, we expect this attitude to change, and that you will give to the best of your ability, and you will utilize every moment that you're there productively, so you can eventually move on from this job, which is just a part-time job. So I'm not going to belabor the point. I'm glad that we can manage within 1 month. I came here last month. We said we'd do this program, and we're here now, and you're going to start working. So we managed to put it all in place within a month. So I wish you all the best, and I hope that you will make full use of this program. But don't get stuck with it. Don't get stuck forever on this. See this as a stepping stone to bigger things. This is just like give you a small income whilst you're preparing for bigger things to come. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Vice President. We have nearly 500 people here, and I'm sure you have many questions you would like to ask the Vice President. The next engagement for us is a charity, which will be in about an hour's time. We're 880 persons employed in that year, including the Pomeroon. So the floor is now open. There is a mic.
May I just say something? If any of you have any personal issue, the last time I came here, we had a large number of personal issues. People didn't have their NIS, house lot, fighting with a neighbor over their piece of land next door. All sorts of things came up the last meeting. So we then went back and we set up a unit in the office of the president, and we have a couple of ministers who follow up on these issues. So if you have a personal issue you wish to raise with me and you don't want to raise it here, I have some of my staff here. All we need is for you to get your name and number, and then we'll call you later. Somebody will call you from the office of the president, and then you can explain the problem to them. So if you have personal issues, please, where is Steve? That guy there works at the office of the president, so in case you have any issue you want to follow up, like all these scholarship programs and those things, don't, because I'd send someone. Many of you may be interested in scholarships, so it might be too large for us to take all the names. That is why I'm going to send out a team back. Again, the gold team, headed by Professor Opeder, and the minister and a few others to work with you if you have any interest in that area. Okay, so I just wanted to say that before you start.
Right, so thank you, Vice President, for that.
So you would have heard from the Vice President.
We're going to share the mic around. So the major issues, ideas that you have as well, that you would like to share with the Vice President.
A number of people are here waiting to sign up. Some 300 individuals from this area for a part-time jobs that will see these people here being gainfully employed in the public sector, and we're hoping that, I'm supposing the government is hoping if they're going to put more people in the public sector part-time, it will bring down the workload. You know, you would be able to go to ministries and get through faster and get services faster. Now you have a lot of people who complain about,
I'm just going to say thank you very much.
You have a lot of people who complain about the services of the public sector. Now you have private citizens going and getting jobs in the public sector. Let's see how the action is going to change.
Thank you very much once more. You're welcome.
So the Guyanese Critic coming to you from Anna Regina,
If not, that's great.
jobs,
Just head to the next meeting.
charity is the next live, where you'll see some 800 people being addressed by the Vice President and delivering on jobs that he had initially promised.
Let's get out of the way so you can continue the registration flip drop, right? I think, okay then. Thank you very much. We're going to leave and go to charity now.